And we've got more coverage of that story now in today's Media Watch. And for that, I'm joined by Simon Harding. And Simon, you've been taking a look at some of the reaction online to that shock decision by the Pope not to accept the disgraced Cardinal's resignation.
Absolutely, Laura, and shock really is the word. People are completely outraged, it must be said, at the Pope's decision. The New York Times headlined on it as soon as the news broke. It says, Pope rejects resignation of French cardinal convicted of abuse cover-up. And if you go into it again, it details exactly how that happened, why it happened. Philippe Barbarin, who's of course accused of knowingly not doing anything about paedophiles inside the Archdiocese of Lyon in France. We have this Twitter user here in French who's saying that it's because he was presumed innocent, although he has actually already been convicted by the courts, and that's the reason why Barbarin was refused. And you can see this sentence here in French, un ultime crachat au visage des victimes. It's loosely translated as really spitting in the faces of the victims. And you have here an image of shame, 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 which is from the series Game of Thrones.
And not long after that big conference at the Vatican on trying to tackle the problem of child abuse, which is endemic in the Catholic
And people
Church.
are seeing this really as quite a hypocritical move and one that has no sense. In fact, this cartoon from a French cartoonist, Goubel, he says Barbarin meets the Pope, and the Pope is asking, so how are the children doing? So it really has this deep kind of attack on society at a time where, of course, films in France are coming out on this, accusing the church in France of not doing enough. Here we have a Twitter user.
Yeah, the church tried to stop that film coming out, didn't they?
Absolutely.
While the case was still ongoing.
Well, the film is coming out, though.
The film's out,
in cinemas. So this user saying, entre le pape, who refused, so the Pope is refusing the resignation of Barbarin. Then we had Morandais, who's another high-ranking official here in
really
France,
shocking,
in a video which is in French, so there's no sense in me showing it to you, Laura. But he's basically saying, or almost justifying, sometimes that it's children who really are going towards priests and saying, "Our children need affection. I've seen children kiss people on the lips. I think that's fine." And people are actually, well, no, that isn't fine. And I think this
literally
is
blaming children for child abuse.
Almost blaming children. I wouldn't. That's not what he said, word for word, of course. And of course, Humanist UK. If the Catholic Church wants to end the systematic criminality, then surely those who help perpetrate the sexual abuse of children must not keep their positions of power. And I think that is a view that's really echoed across the board, Laura.
Yeah, really shocking decision, that one. All right, let's move on to another story, and this is the aftermath of the shooting in Christchurch last Friday. 50 people killed when a white supremacist attacked two mosques in the city. And the Prime Minister, Jacinda Ardern, has really been praised for her leadership following that atrocity. And today she said she will never say the killer's name out loud.
And she's generated a lot of buzz, the New Zealand Prime Minister, because it's really seen as a show of strength. In the past, of course, people have named the perpetrators of these attacks, but she was very clear that she wanted not only for him not to be named, but for the victims really to be remembered, for their names to be praised going forwards. The BBC, of course, headlining on this today. Big news in the morning. The BBC, who also drew an article which they wrote after the Florida school shooting, which says, does the media have a problem with coverage of mass shootings? Because the issue that's come out of this, Laura, is really that people are questioning, should the name of an attacker in this kind of situation be given at all? Does it really give him that false publicity? And it's a debate that's really been fueled since Jacinda Ardern made those comments. Dan Jarvis, for example, saying, do not give fame to the shooter, do not remember his name or recognize his face. We must not allow notoriety to motivate those who consider such evil. Here, another user, Aaron Bieber, and I must say there is explicit language in this tweet, but it is important because it gives the context. It's a truly heroic response, and our own country and media needs to learn lesson from this. But of course, again, it's a shout out for, I suppose, us as the media to take action and to try and change the way we do things.
All right, Simon, thank you very much indeed, Simon.